Hey there, welcome back to the next installment of the Global Business Leader series on the Chamber Guide. This is your go-to channel for staying informed about the dynamic world of business, tracking the latest governmental endeavors, and gaining valuable insights into the trajectory of sustainable growth. As always, we are honored to be your platform for connecting with the global business leaders who offer us a wealth of insights, perspectives, and inspiration, guiding us through the intricacies of the global business landscape. Today marks the continuation of our riveting conversation, and we are still joined in the hot seat by a true luminary, the Managing Director for Sub-Saharan Africa at the Africa Chamber of Digital Commerce, Mr. Jiraji Kelvin Tersoo. A warm welcome back to you, Kelvin.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome back, Francis.
Thank you. Now, in case you missed the first part of our discussion, we discussed about bridging the gap between the private sector partners and African entrepreneurs to drive sustainable economic growth in the region and explore the intricacies of driving digital transformation and economic empowerment in Africa. Now, as we shift gears, we'll be diving deeper into the crucial topic of finding equilibrium. So without further ado, let's steer the conversation towards striking that balance. Kelvin, in light of the dynamic and uncertain global economic landscape, the forum discussed thriving in volatility and creating a long-term investment strategy. Now, how can startups and growing businesses in Africa adopt adaptive strategies to navigate uncertainties while maintaining their focus on sustainable growth?
Yeah, thank you, Francis. First, we've identified two gaps within the African startup ecosystem. First is the knowledge gap. Young men and women in Africa oftentimes do not understand the act of building businesses or the act of pivoting, as the case may be. So what we've done in that regard is to create a safe space where through our AIM hybrid model, acceleration, incubation, and mentorship, young people can constantly refresh their knowledge and connect with people who have either exited or people within the ecosystem to understand the act of building business. That's the knowledge, gain access to the knowledge or access to the act of building business. Secondly, is the connection to the global ecosystem. Most startup founders in Africa do not know where to go to get help while building their business. So through some of our initiatives like Friday Meet and Greet, where we create a safe space where both the public and private sector and investors and entrepreneurs come every Friday to share a bit about what they are building and to foster partnership, collaboration, and community. So young men and women, entrepreneurs alike, through our initiative have been able to connect themselves to the global ecosystem and both recruit both directors and advisors, as the case may be, through the platform. So as a chamber, we are consistently innovating around creating a safe space for African startups to thrive and access to investment. That is why we've been able to attract over 5 members. We have a 3-tier membership where we open our doors to both founders and initiatives to be part of what we are building for both Africa and the diaspora. We have over 5 VCs as the chamber members, that we constantly create a platform for them to listen to what young people, young men and women are building on the continent, to make those necessary introductions for founders to investors and create a space whereby they can interact, network, and eventually get investment for sustainable development. So ours is a holistic approach to both driving the knowledge base of founders, giving founders access to both opportunities and investment, and accelerating development through our signature initiatives.
Thanks for that, Kelvin. I think it's an amazing initiative, and I'm going to put links to your website right below our video so that anybody who's actually interested in taking up a membership, I think they should be able to click on those links and get in touch with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Kelvin, you are a leader in product management, especially with the agri-tech expertise. Tell us, what are your views on how entrepreneurs in Africa can effectively leverage digital technologies and innovative solutions to address agricultural challenges, and also the lack of certain basic resources, as well as foster growth in this critical sector?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, apparently the world is digital, and I keep telling, especially founders in Africa, that digital technology, because we are in the era of digital economy, we must, as founders, leverage that holistic approach. And I would like to address this point by highlighting in my other life, I am building what I call the platform for smallholder farmers, because, as I said earlier, our focus is in rural Africa. Rural Africa is actually our focus, because that is where we believe that the next wave of opportunity on the continent is coming from. So I am building, along my team, we are building an ecosystem for smallholder farmers, leveraging blockchain, smart contracts, AI, and tokenization. The project is called Tembe Kaswa, where smallholder farmers can have access to both financial and digital inclusion. So whoever connects rural Africa to both digital and financial inclusion will be the biggest winner in the digital economy that is upon us in Africa. So constantly, as a chamber, we are creating a platform that startups will thrive. And that's the more reason why our infrastructural financing platform is very handy for African leaders to actually tap into. Because some of the challenges around digitization of the continent is in infrastructure. The connectivity is very low. Access to technology is very, very low. Access to smartphones is very, very low. So infrastructure is very, very critical. So constantly we are looking at partners. Our doors are open for partners that are looking towards Africa in terms of the digital infrastructure, because we believe that the digital technology or the digital economy will be accelerated on the continent of Africa if infrastructure are quickly in place. So our doors are open to partners that will open up the opportunities for African leaders to tap into and build digital infrastructure to both connect the telephony and digital network, so that rural Africans can have access to digital technology for an accelerated development on the continent of Africa.
Thanks, Kelvin. So I believe that would actually be some of the most significant communication challenges that are being faced in Africa right now. Tell us, what are the opportunities that lie abound in Africa at this point?
Yes, at this point, the conversation around Africa is on value chain enhancement, both in agriculture, in power, in the telecommunication. The conversation is on value chain. So that is where the opportunity holds for Africans, for investors that are looking towards Africa. How do we enhance value chains on the continent of Africa? Let's look at agriculture as the case may be. We have three major value chains from production to value addition, and of course to commodity trading, where commodity move from one point to another. So once you are able to add value, the opportunity lies in value chain addition in both production, in both supply chain, which is a gold mine within the sector, and of course in value addition where raw materials are processed for either local consumption or export. So if you ask me where the opportunity really is in Africa, the opportunity is in the value chain enhancement or value chain addition, as the case may be, across every sector of the African economy.
Right. Thanks for that. Now, let's go back to talking about the Qatar Economic Forum, because I believe one of the topics that was highlighted was the re-engineering of globalization. In the context of Africa's economic development, how can the African Chamber of Digital Commerce support startups and businesses in embracing international trade and connectivity while safeguarding local interests and fostering regional economic integration?
Yeah, thank you. The world is a global village. Yeah, so with the advent of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, because as a chamber, we are always riding the tides of the happenings and events and trends in Africa, so that we can innovate around and, of course, carry out policy re-engineering and, of course, advocacy. So with the advent of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and with what we believe is a game changer, the Pan-African payment system, to allow for cross-border payment, because that is one of the challenges, the major challenges within intra-African and inter-African trade. The payment system, it's very, it has been very, very challenging. So what we are doing is through the Diaspora Bank, we are leveraging on the CBDCs of the central bank currencies of the individual African countries, 54 African countries, to create a multi-sovereign gateway that will unlock payment system for cross-border trade. Secondly, the chamber is constantly knocking on doors through what I like to call, or we call at the chamber, economic allyship, looking at both regional, private sector partners, because no region is an island. With the globalization and with what they take away from Qatar Economic Forum in terms of re-engineering globalization, it therefore means no region is an island. So we are constantly knocking on doors to form partnerships, both with the government and for the government of Africa, with over the 54 countries of Africa, to create that economic gateway and economic allyship that will unlock trade and businesses on the continent of Africa.
Thank you. Now, the forum touched on technology investing in uncertain times. For entrepreneurs seeking investment in Africa's digital economy, Kelvin, what advice can you offer to secure funding and build strategic partnerships, especially in these times of economic uncertainty?
Yes, the future or the ideal way of securing investment from the African standpoint in terms of builders and startups is through partnership. Partnerships is very, very critical in accelerating smart investment. And secondly, we are very big on risk mitigation strategies. Africa, from an outside perspective, especially investors that do not understand the happenings of Africa, they are very, very keen on risk. So as startups, we advise them to be very, very big on risk mitigations. How do you mitigate risk? So we are constantly teaching startups on risk mitigation. So I strongly believe that with a very good risk mitigation strategy, alongside the necessary partnership, that will go a very long way in unlocking investment for African startups. Secondly, startups need to consistently pivot. We advise for internal pivoting because technology, emerging technology, is changing at a very sporadic speed, changing the way we interact, changing the way we do business. So that it therefore means that as startup founders, we need to constantly pivot, carry out internal pivot to examine what is working and what is not working. So looking at the tripartite angle to having a right partnership in place, having the right risk mitigation strategies in place, and of course, exploring the network which the chamber is very big around education and knowing the art of building business. That will go a very long way in accelerating investment into startups on the continent of Africa.
Thanks, Kelvin. The Africa Chamber of Digital Commerce also aims to be a leading voice in promoting digital innovation. Now, how do you envision the Chamber collaborating with the African governments, regulatory bodies, and private sector partners to create an enabling environment that fosters technological advancements and entrepreneurship in the continent? I know we spoke a little bit about partnerships, but let's go in a little bit deeper.
Okay, thank you. I would like to start by saying in full confidence that the African Chamber of Digital Commerce is the best pathway into the African business ecosystem. And why am I saying this? As a digital chamber, our focus has been on digital trade, digital commerce, and smart investment. And through our initiatives and our approach to being an advocacy as a service organizations, we've been consistently building bridges with African government. We just have a very, very fantastic MOU with the government of Botswana, where we are hoping to churn out very impactful initiatives for the continent. At the Qatar Economic Forum, we sat down with the investment agency for Mauritania. There's a current partnership that exists with the government of Nigeria around human capital development, leveraging the low-code technology. We are putting together an ideation summit on the sideline of the World Investment Forum to shadow the World Investment Forum and promote conversations around smart investment and smart tech, and to build that economic allyship between Africa, Asia, the Gulf region, to harness the enormous opportunities of the diaspora economy. So we are constantly building bridges across Africa, fostering an environment for public-private partnerships. We have a very good relationship with the African Union. We have a very good relationship with the regional organizations. Ours is a very young organization that is very, very ambitious, that is very, very strategic, that is its goal is to leverage on emerging technology to disrupt the traditional system we have, which to a very long extent have hindered the growth and development of the continent. So through our advocacy, through our policy reengineering, through our initiatives, we've been able to create that platform, that enabling environment to connect with African leaders and engender an environment and foster public-private partnerships.
Thank you. Now, Kelvin, the Africa Chamber of Digital Commerce seeks to empower businesses to thrive in the digital age. Let's move forward. Looking ahead, what are some of the upcoming initiatives and programs that the Chamber has planned to further its mission and contribute to the growth and prosperity of the African digital ecosystem?
Yes, we have a number of initiatives that we strongly believe will empower entrepreneurs on the continent. And I would like to list a few of them. First, we have the AIM Hybrid, the acceleration, incubation, and mentorship, where we holistically look at how do we empower young women and men on the continent of Africa to pick up an idea, iterate it over and over, and be able to build it into a thriving business. So the AIM Hybrid is one of the initiatives that we are able to connect young people, their vision, their talents, and their dreams into reality. Next is the no-code programming, where we call it AC of DC Mesh. It takes a young person or a developer 3 to 5 years to become full stack. But with the no-code, low-code, we believe that African governments and young men and women on the continent of Africa can leverage this technology, the no-code, low-code, to become proficient in software development and product management, as the case may be, within the shortest possible time to be upskilled so that they can have access to jobs. So the AC of this DC Mesh provides a very good platform for young people to be upskilled on the continent of Africa. And we are looking for partners and sponsors around that initiative. And of course, we have what we call the tokenization and blockchain library. The knowledge gap is very, very huge. We are providing both digital resource and physical trainings to both government, the private sector, and of course, entrepreneurs to appreciate appreciate emerging technology, particularly blockchain, and the potential it portends. And of course, for African government to leverage on tokenization, understand the concept around tokenization, to be able to tokenize their assets. Africa is sitting on a very, very huge resource, both natural and human. So tokenization will make a lot of meaning within the African space. And we are constantly having webinars. We have a Friday meet and greet, whereby before this session ends, I would like to invite everybody every Friday, 12 p.m. CST. We have a virtual space where we meet together to share cutting-edge ideas, to share what we are building individually, and how we can come together as a community to form economic allyship, both for Africa and our brothers and sisters who are living abroad, the diaspora population. So the chamber is very big on education, is very big on emerging tech, is very big on policy reengineering, and of course, is very big on accelerating tech investment on the continent of Africa.
Right. And with that, we have reached the conclusion of this interview. I would like to thank you, Kelvin, for your deep insights and perspectives that you have shared with us today.
Thank you, Francis, for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Jiraji Kelvin Tersoo, the Managing Director of Sub-Saharan Africa at the Africa Chamber of Digital Commerce, providing us with a wealth of wisdom. As we wrap up things in the studio, we encourage you to stay tuned for more engaging discussions with global business leaders that will continue to shape and inspire your understanding of the dynamic international business landscape. For those seeking more information or looking to connect with the Africa Chamber of Digital Commerce, you'll find relevant links below this video. Don't hesitate to reach out with your inquiries or to support their impactful initiatives. Remember to hit that subscribe button and stay connected and informed about the ever-evolving world of global business. Until next time, I'm Francis Michael, and I look forward to welcoming you back for our next exploration into the world of business only on the Chamber Guide. Stay informed, stay inspired, and stay connected. I'll see you soon.